Welcome back. You're on Open Exchange. EOH reported full-year results this morning, and the company Chief Financial Officer John King is in the studio with us to look at them. Morning to you, John. I know you've seen the numbers. They've probably dominated your life for the last month or two. We've hardly seen them, so all we've got at the moment, they came out not long ago, revenue up 42%, profit after tax 49%. If profit's higher than revenue, you're doing something right. Increase in headline earnings up 32%, HEPS to 446 cents. These look very good. Are they extraordinary things that suggest there's a catch here somewhere?
No, it's not extraordinary. In fact, if you look at the results of EOH over the last 16 years, in fact, we've grown on average about 44% per annum. So it's very much in line with what we would have expected. The biggest growth has been in the services side of EOH, where we've grown over 50%. You know, we are a technology and knowledge services company. But it's come across the board, so we've grown in all areas: services, software and infrastructure products.
But this kind of growth, I mean, yes, 10%, 15%, but these are big numbers. How do you keep it up?
Well, look, if you look at the market share or addressable market, well, let's look at the addressable market first, is about 220 billion. We are a 7 billion revenue company. So we've got a long, long way to go. We've also in the last few years diversified into industrial technologies, which is really on the back of infrastructure and all the national development plans, the foray into Africa. So we're big in telcos, water, energy, those sorts of areas, and also the business process outsourcing, which, as you know, uses as its backbone IT. We also are a growth-oriented company, so we grow both organically and through acquisitions, strategic acquisitions. We've done that since inception. This year, the growth came about 55% from organic growth, and about 45% as a result of businesses joining EOH. Yep. And we do use the term joining EOH because we don't believe you can acquire people, and we're a people business. You know, so we have businesses joining EOH, and so we have business of 100 entrepreneurs in senior management.
Travis, before we bring you into the conversation, just want to get an idea of your growth strategy. At the moment, in South Africa, you've got 134 operations, right? Africa, you've got 29, you've got operations in the UK. A lot of the revenue comes from South Africa, but you're looking at growing that. Where else on the African continent are you looking to grow, and how much of that revenue will be coming from the rest of Africa, say, in the next 5 years or so?
I think you're absolutely right. Most of our revenue does come from South Africa at the moment. We believe there's lots of opportunities in Africa, particularly in the industrial technology space, the infrastructure space. I mean, it's growing at a faster rate than South Africa. So we've, as I said, we've diversified into water, energy, infrastructure products to support the telcos, the major banks, in terms of those areas. We will expand into Africa, but slowly and cautiously. We're not going to bet the house on it over the next period. We think it'll probably grow. At the moment, probably in single digits, 3-4% of our revenue comes from Africa. It'll probably go to about 10%. It's not something we have to do, but these huge opportunities, particularly in the industrial technology space.
Well, Travis said earlier before you came in, John, that he sold when you were at 30 Rand. And
thought regretting it,
but he'd done well.
I managed to buy at 5 Rand 80, so made some good money. Two questions from my side. One, you recently you had a massive drive in acquisitions. Noticeably is that Cybrin Group on the software. And two, are you heavily weighted towards the public sector within South Africa? You know, we all look at construction sector with non-payment, and is that a concern going forward, or do you plan to move more into the private sector versus the public going forward? So one, acquisitions; two, private versus public.
Okay, from acquisitions, we've always had companies joining us over the years. You know, it's been part of our growth strategy. We look for niche businesses. We only look for good businesses, in fact. We don't look for turnaround businesses, so we'll have 30, 40 people joining us in a niche area. Recently, we've had a lot of consulting type businesses joining us in industrial technology, in financial services, in the telco space, in mining space. So it's something that's part of our DNA, that will continue. So it's not huge, big acquisitions, which we have. The second thing is we've always been primarily in the private sector. And it's only recently that we've moved into the public sector. And it's because we think we can do a whole lot more in the public sector to change the lives of many South Africans.
Is that within the health and finance?
It's all over. It's across the board in all three tiers of government, at national, provincial, and in local government. We're putting together solutions. We call it municipality in a box, for example, to try and improve service delivery. So right now, about 25% of our revenue comes from the public sector. We expect it to remain at about those numbers. It's in lots of different projects. We don't have a single client in the public sector that we're dependent on. But we can make a big difference in the public sector, and I think it's very important to be in that space. So this, about 80 billion rands is in IT. It's spent from overall. About 25% of that comes from the public sector, and we want our fair share of it.
John, I just want to find out from you how important this is. You've stated in your announcement that you're going to be continuing to, or you're going to begin distributing your own niche IP software products internationally. You said this is this is significant in both the, in terms of your growth, and it is of strategic importance to EOH's future. Now, first of all, what is the IP software products that you're going to be distributing? If this is a big thing that is important for the future growth of your company.
Yes, if you look at IP, you know, we traditionally have been implementers of other people's IP. And what we're doing now is putting together a whole lot of solutions that we can take to various industries, whether it's in financial services, in the telco space, or whatever. So Cybrin, for example, has a lot of financial services software products. We have other businesses that have joined us, which are in the engineering space, a lot of project management tools. We have the municipality in the box type scenario, which we're developing. We want to package our own IP together with other software products and sell them as a package solution into various different industries.
It strikes me that could be a huge gainer of revenue, because we read reports every week of such and such a municipality installed computers to the value of 63 million rand, and they're sitting gathering dust. You're saying you provide a package where that won't happen?
Absolutely. I think the whole idea is to basically, we understand local government. We've been involved in the consulting side of local government for 15 years. So we understand what they need. We've now actually packaged it. So, you know, whether it's billing, water, utilities, whatever it may be, we can do it. So it's a case of just getting it out there into the various different parts of the public sector, but also the private sector. You know, we provide software solutions to enterprise. We don't provide it to the sort of man in the street, as it were.
When will you start distributing this?
It's going to happen during the course of this year. We're already doing some of it already, but it's obviously during the course of this year, and it'll start ramping up over the next few years.
John, thank you so much for joining us. That was John King. He's the CFO of EOH.